rental accommodations office, and then in private practice. After moving to Florida, she became an assistant attorney general in Tampa, eventually becoming bureau chief. For 13 years, she handled appeals in the 2nd and 11th District Courts of Appeal, the Florida Supreme Court, and the U.S. Supreme Court. In 1993, she became the first Black woman to serve on a District Court of Appeal when Governor Lawton Childs appointed her to the 2nd District Court of Appeal. 4 years later, she made history as the first Black female justice of the Florida Supreme Court. There, she led efforts to create a statewide multidisciplinary dependency court improvement panel to improve procedures in cases where courts decide whether a child may stay with their parents or must be taken into state custody for their own protection. She served as a liaison to the Florida Innocence Commission, and she created a task force to establish procedures for dealing with foreclosures. By her example, Justice Quince has opened doors for women and others to advance in the legal profession. She has worked steadfastly to make court proceedings fair for families, children, and people who cannot afford a private attorney, and has been a strong advocate, supporter, and champion of mentorships for younger people and lawyers. When Justice Quince retired from the Supreme Court, she didn't slow down. Since 2019, she has served on a conviction review unit in Hillsborough County, reviewing more than 400 convictions. She also serves on FFLA's board of directors. In their letters of support for Justice Quince's nomination, fellow judges described her as honorable, an inspiration, courageous, and dedicated to ensuring equal access for justice to everyone. She is someone who never yielded to public pressure to win at the expense of professionalism, and someone who encouraged lawyers to volunteer their time doing pro bono work for those less fortunate. And so it is my distinct honor to present the Medal of Honor to Justice Quince. Thank you. Justice Quince, for your decades-long legal and judicial career spent in service to the public, your extensive volunteer work on behalf of those less fortunate, and your dedication to ensuring the halls of justice are open to all, FFLA presents to you the 2024 Medal of Honor for a Lawyer. Congratulations. Yeah, 3 minutes. I think we want your picture in front of the FFLA. Okay?
I've got a Constitution down there. June. Good morning, colleagues and friends. It is really a great honor for me to receive this award. I am humbled and honored to receive this award from FFLA, although in my heart of hearts, I always think of it as the Florida Bar Foundation. And it's always special when you are recognized by your peers. And I hope that I have contributed to the administration of justice in this state and hopefully in this country. And I'm so proud to be listed with those great medal award winners before me. I've worked with many of them, and I've called many of them friends. And I'm especially glad to see that David Rothman is here today. He was last year's Medal of Honor winner. But I've worked with so many of them, Bob Butterworth and Joe Hatchett and William Van Nortwick, Jack Harkness and Hank Cox. These are really giants in our profession, and I am honored to be listed among them. As I said, I hope I have contributed to the administration of justice in this state. But we must continue to fight. Lawyers must continue to improve the administration of justice, not just in the state of Florida, but throughout our country. All of us, especially the lawyers in this room, have an obligation. We have an obligation to make sure that those words that talk about and justice for all really is a reality. It's a great slogan, but we want to and we should be about making it a reality. And this includes making sure that the rule of law remains the guiding principle in this state and in this country. A former recipient of this Medal of Honor award, Martha Barnett, and I are both on the board of an organization, Lawyers Defending American Democracy. It is an organization that we are dedicated to making sure that there is, in fact, justice for all and that the rule of law continues to be the guiding principle in this country. I would ask that you join me in this fight to continue to have equal justice in this country, that you could join with me in making sure that the rule of law and that this Constitution, which you can get a copy of from the Florida Lawyers Mutual table, that you make sure that the principles embodied in this Constitution continue to be the principles that guide this country. So I appeal to all of you to join me in we don't have a perfect democracy, but it's better than the alternatives. And I would ask you to help me and those who are fighting to preserve our American democracy to get on board, help us, so that we can, in fact, make these principles true and that we will continue down the path of equality and justice for all. Thank you.
Let's go down the room.
Here I am, Bob Pardo. That was amazing. Thank you very much, Justice. I don't really know how this works, that after that I have to introduce Judge Scales. But I do know that he has a rock and roll radio station down in Key West, so if you're ever on your way to the Keys, what's the time of the show? 11 to 2, join Ed Scales for some rock and roll down in the Florida Keys. But now, you're actually in charge of the 3rd District Court of Appeals now? President-elect. President-elect, kind of like me, but like real serious.